Nintendo just announced and launched Nintendo Music, and we're here to tell you why this might be Nintendo's most important launch of 2024. Why is it?
Yeah, it's not a Switch 2, but wow, like the more I think about this, the more I think this is really like megaton level news potentially when you look at kind of like the long-term opportunity that Nintendo has in this space. But yeah, they just announced it a couple hours ago. We had our chance to, check it out for a little while. So why don't we just start out by just giving people an overview of what this is if they're not aware, and then we'll get into some thoughts and maybe some analysis. But yeah, it's a smartphone app. It's exclusive to Nintendo Switch Online members. Lets you stream or download music from different Nintendo games, even more than Nintendo games. We'll get into that in a little bit too. They have music that's organized a bunch of different ways. You can go by game, by character. They've got some that's like, by mood, if you're feeling happy, that kind of stuff. You can create your own playlist if you're not happy with the playlist that Nintendo has there. That's nice. This is an interesting thing that they have. It's a spoiler prevention option where if you see a game that you haven't played yet and you're worried about getting spoiled, which can happen, based on the name of a track,
Yeah,
you can just kind of omit that from the catalog and you don't have to worry about seeing that. I thought that was kind of a nice
clever.
unique, clever option.
Yeah.
You can also loop songs for up to an hour, and people have been saying like, yeah, this is kind of like in a game. These songs repeat, and they're kind of made to go that way, so you can loop them for up to an hour if you want. I was trying to loop my Wii Shop music for forever. That's what
Oh,
I wanted. They
you
didn't
wanted
have that.
that.
Where was that? And there's a decent selection of music now, but they did say that there's going to be more coming in the future, and there was kind of a scroll of different games, and a couple
Yeah.
that caught my eye: Mario 64, Zelda Wind Waker, Zelda Skyward Sword, Donkey Kong Country 2. So a lot of promise of more to be added. When? We don't know. Somewhere in the future. But that's kind of what Nintendo introduced, and then it just launched. And I don't know, what do you think after playing around with this for a little while?
Yeah, it's been a wild couple of hours from, announcement to launch. It was just, such a short time for me to wrap my head around all of this because I think you're right. It's so much bigger than what people might initially think. Like, oh, it's just a music app or whatever, and you can play some songs from video games. Like, who cares? But actually means quite a bit, I think. Playing around with the app, though, I think it's pretty cool. It's actually like really nice to have music organized in this way, to listen to it on a device that you normally listen to music on, that you're used to, listening to music on. That's kind of I just never expected, to have something that's not on a Switch or on a Nintendo piece of hardware where I can like have Nintendo Music. So that's pretty nice. I will say that right now the library is a little bit limited. Like they do have the greatest hits kind of stuff. Like they did definitely. I can tell that they were like, we have to launch with this selection of music, and if we don't have this like this 10 whatever games, then it's not worth us launching
If we
it.
don't have the Wii Me Maker music, then what are we even
What
doing
are
here?
we even doing
Why are
here?
we even trying this?
Yeah, exactly. But it is a little bit limited right now. I'm sure they are going to be adding music to it. I'm a little bit worried that it's going to be like the NSO games where like they drip it to you little by little. It's like, you have the music, Nintendo, you have them, just give it to us. But otherwise, the interface is really nice, easy to use. I like the extended tracks because sometimes those video game songs, you try to listen to it
For
like on
sure.
a playlist, it's like less than a minute. It's really short. So you need a little time to get into it. You can tell that they're highlighting certain games that have like a big musical component to it. Like Splatoon, obviously, is like a big highlight for them, and they're able to do that. In the music app. So yeah, generally it's super nice, really solid. I was just listening to my extended Super Mario Galaxy cut, and I quite enjoyed it. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely in a launch state where you can see things changing or expanding over time. But what they have, I think, is really nice. And something that I appreciate is for the games that are there, they're not skimping on those offerings. So I immediately
Yeah,
went to the Mario Kart 8 soundtrack.
of course, the
I
big band.
love the Mario Kart 8 soundtrack. It's one of the best
It's so good.
that Nintendo's done in a long time. And it was like 100 songs. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, we got pretty much everything
the
here.
whole library. Yeah,
And if you kind of go by those that are categorized by game, it's like, yeah, I think they've done a good job of really capturing everything that those games had to offer. I don't know, purists might know like, oh, well, they're missing this like game over music or something like this. But, as far as the main music, it seems to be all there. I
yeah.
agree that some of the selections, like, I don't know how they made those choices. Like there was some like, Tomodachi Life series stuff. It's like, I'm glad to have this. It's nice
Why
to
this?
know.
Why now?
It's nice to know that they're looking at that as, that's more of a deep cut than something else that they could have added. But how did that make it into the launch lineup of music? I don't know. But yeah, it's easy to use. I mean, I think most people know this. If people don't know, like this music is not available
Elsewhere.
anywhere else.
Exactly.
So I think we've all done the thing where it's like, well, I want to listen to this thing. I've got YouTube open. I'm listening. I found some random guy
Yep.
who uploaded. I don't have YouTube Premium, believe it or not. As somebody who makes YouTube videos, I don't have YouTube Premium. So you just got to keep the thing open. If you close it, the music will stop. It's not a great experience. So just being able to have like basic music app player functionality for this stuff is really nice. And then there's just the potential of, oh my gosh, like the decades and decades of music that we all know and love, and the discovery of even more music is really exciting.
Yeah, totally. I think the promise of this is really cool. I can see like so many things, not just with adding different tracks from your favorite games or whatever, but like could they potentially in the future have a way for you to share your playlist with your friends? Like some of that functionality of curation and stuff like that, that would be incredible. So yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
they'll keep kind of evolving it and adding to it.
So the point of this music not having been previously available, if people don't know, we used to work at Nintendo of America, been privy to a lot of conversations around the usage of music.
Yeah.
Like, why exactly has this taken so long, and why isn't this just on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever else?
Yeah, Nintendo's just had such a strange history with music. They're equal parts like extremely controlling as they are with all of their IP. Whether it's a piece of artwork or a piece of music, it's all seen as Nintendo IP and to be controlled in a very strict way. When we were at Nintendo and we were oftentimes dealing with scary things like you looking at YouTube takedowns and legal things all related to the upload of Nintendo music or Nintendo's music without permission because Nintendo did not have their own official way of doing this. And I think outside of sort of soundtracks that are only available a lot of times in Japan, you really didn't get official Nintendo music anywhere else, which was really interesting for a brand that has a ton of music.
Yeah, music licensing, kind of the legalities around that are, like, just to put it plainly, a complete mess.
Yeah, it's a
And there's
nightmarish.
like different rules internationally. So like I'd heard it explained to me a number of times. I'll be honest, like I didn't necessarily understand every single nuance of it,
Yeah,
but there were reasons. And again, in Japan, they'll have a lot of this stuff available on a CD. They're still buying CDs. In Japan, but in the US, it was a different story. So that was always like, yeah, we'd love to, but like, here's 5 reasons that if you're a lawyer, you understand. But for me, I was just like, all right, I guess we can't for whatever
and
reason.
and Nintendo is so strict in the way that they control their IP. Like they won't have any sort of like they don't like to give any leeway, right? So if they can't publish the music or get the music out in a very specific controlled way, they just won't do it.
Yeah, if we can't do
And,
it our way, we're just not going to do it.
and that was the reasoning when we were there. And so I guess they finally figured out to do a way to do it their way, which is
Yeah.
this app.
But around the time we were leaving the company, which was 2021 or so, like I did start to hear like in the kind of company grapevine of like, oh, some people are starting to investigate and just have conversations with those music companies and understand more about like how they work. So I get the sense that like some people were starting to think about it. Like I imagine that was a long road, and obviously they didn't end up going with those partners, but I mean, just for me, it was heartening to know, like, all right, somebody's interested in this, somebody's thinking about this, versus
Yeah.
just like it's in a closet somewhere, never to be touched or thought about.
And I think it really started around the time when Nintendo was doing so much expansion outside of video games. Like they were doing so many things with the theme park, they were doing so many things with the Mario movie. Like they were really starting to think outside of like video games. And I think the music discussion and conversation was looped into this idea of entertainment and like Nintendo being sort of more than just a video game company and to you, the individual, the person, like more than just what you associate with playing games. You're now associating Nintendo with so many different things just in your everyday life, and that is their end goal really. And I think that really started to move very quickly, right around the time like the Mario movie and things like that was coming out.
Yeah, so people might wonder, like, well, gosh, why does Nintendo release this on its own app? Why don't they just go the Apple Spotify route like everybody else? And I think for us as former employees, like I think we can understand the path of how they got here.
Yeah.
There are some things that they need to do where they need a partner. If you're going to make a movie, they admit it. We don't have experience making a movie. We need a partner. So they found the best partner they could, and they made a great movie, and they made $1 billion.
Right.
In this case, it's like we made the music. We're capable at that. All we need is a means to distribute it, because we decided we're finally ready to do this. So, why would we do this in a Apple Spotify way where, there's some money that's being exchanged to them? It's like, why do we need to give them any money? Like, what are they going to do with it? Or like,
right.
Just keep our hands off it, because they're like, yeah, this is this precious thing that we created, like our games, and like the game, they're only available on their ecosystem. So they have now created this unique ecosystem that they own, they manage, they control entirely, that they can do whatever they please with and feel happy. Is like, yes, this is in good hands because it's in our hands.
Exactly. Yeah. The control part of it is not to be ignored. And that is the main reason for a lot of these kinds of decisions. The other thing that's really interesting is that it is only available to Nintendo Switch Online members. And I can see, just in the recent few months, just more and more examples of Nintendo really trying to, focus, get focus on the Nintendo Switch Online stuff. There's been obviously the Alarmo that was only available to Nintendo Switch Online members. There was the mysterious playtest that shall not be talked about again ever. There is now this. Like there is so much emphasis on this subscription service, and it's really leading me to believe that this is like they really want this to be a big part of that ecosystem, and for you to basically like subscribe in all aspects of your life, not just in the video game side. Just subscribe your life away to Nintendo, and I can see them doing that with what they're kind of the path that they're going down for this online stuff.
Yeah, something people were really sweating when we were there was the churn rate, which means people who had signed up and then they leave, because you wonder why they left. You don't want them to leave, and you look for ways to bring them back. But in that case, like it ends up being very costly for companies to bring those people back.
Oh,
They
yeah.
do dedicated campaigns called win back campaigns. How do we
Yes.
win you back to come back? And I do think they were concerned about a situation where, like, yeah, it's been kind of a slow year for the Switch. Unless you're like a super hardcore Splatoon player or Smash player who's playing online daily, like you might think like, yeah, I had this. I'll just cancel it until the Switch 2 comes out or until some future point. But will you? Will you actually? Like they want to make sure you just never cancel that.
Yeah.
So this gives them kind of a foolproof way of like, you're not going to cancel this. This isn't a game. This is something that, slots into your everyday life in perpetuity. So if you stop playing Splatoon, you're still going to want to keep that subscription because we got this music that you like and you love and that you might want to listen to in the car here or there. So you're going to really think twice when it comes to canceling. And they really don't want people to cancel ahead of the Switch 2. So I think strategically dropping this now, as we're very slowly getting into that transition period, makes a lot of sense.
This is all a runway for Switch 2, honestly. Like this idea of like bringing as many people in with this NSO stuff as possible, like really like locking you in basically with this like lifestyle thing where like now you can't live without this music. You got to listen to it in the car. Like you got to listen to it when you go for a walk. What are you going to do? You can't cancel this. Now you're locked in. Now they have like millions and millions of people locked into this that they can transition into whatever
Right?
it
You
is
just
they're going
roll
to
them
sell
over.
you when Switch 2 comes out.
Yeah, yeah, it's very smart and a bit diabolical from their point of view when you really
Absolutely.
understand kind of the bigger strategy.
Oh yeah.
So I think we both are feeling pretty good about NSO even before this launch. But one
Yeah,
thing that
yeah.
we really did not like was the drip feed of classic retro games, and I think this is the one point of concern that we have with this
Yeah.
app is, are we in for the drip feed again? Like, you really shouldn't have to do this. It's a music file. You have it. It's done.
Just give
You
us the
you
file.
upload it and you
Yeah.
release it. Like even with games, like it's like, yeah, you might have to do a bit of work with that to get it ready. You can't have it all at once. But in this case, I don't know. So I am
Yeah.
slightly concerned about that.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're going to use this also in another strategic way, which is this thing that we call like warm up marketing, where like, oh, the next Fire Emblem game is coming out. We're going to drop all these
Yeah,
great retro, awesome Fire Emblem tracks into the music app, get you all nice and toasty and ready for the new Fire Emblem game. Just get your mind thinking about Fire Emblem. Like, this is another like good marketing leg that they'll have forever. And they have you on this now, so they can basically like subliminally or not even subliminally market to you um, through the music that they drop. So they might be holding back a little bit and being a little bit more drip feed for that purpose. I hope that they don't do it where it's just like very limited updates. Um, I do, hope that they kind of batch these and give us something substantial with each drop if they're going to do it this way, because yeah, you want your music library to feel robust. You want to have a reason to be coming back and listening to the music on here. So hopefully they don't like do it in such a way where it just feels like, oh my gosh, it's been like 8 months and nothing has
yeah,
changed.
yeah. Nintendo is great as compared to a lot of other gaming companies at creating news and staying in the news. Like they
Yeah,
have news like almost every day of the week, and when those classic games drop on NSO, that is a news pop that people talk about and people
right.
get excited about. So it may be frustrating to me, but again, like understanding their thought process, yes, that is something I have seen people pointing out, and I'm excited to see this myself. A big test for this app and this service will be next week. Mario and Luigi Brothership releases. Will the full soundtrack release
Drop.
day and date? So for these big new
Mm,
games,
it
will this
should.
release day and date? It absolutely should. That's a great way to just promote these games as they come out.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're going to find out in a week.
We're
That's
going to find
exciting.
out. Let's see what the marketing team does with this.
Yeah. Any other just kind of bigger picture implications of this, thoughts, musings you might have?
I just keep thinking back to, when we're at Nintendo and Mr. Iwata just really saying, like, we're not a video game company. Don't ever think of yourself as working for a video game company. You work for an entertainment lifestyle brand. This is what Nintendo is. And for a long time, it was hard to really like wrap your head around that because Nintendo was making games. That was their main business. They were making hardware and making games. But really, gosh, in the last, 3, 4, 5 years or so, I think the promise of it becoming this like full scale entertainment company, we're in it.
it's
Um,
it's happening it's happening fast, and
it's
again, like
incredible,
it's important to take a step back and just like recognize like what's happened over the past couple of years and like
right?
where the road could lead, because this is like a major brick in that road.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
my mind goes directly to those people who upload on YouTube,
Yes.
that we talked about, and
R.I.P.
I do think this gives them, a bigger reason to be much more proactive in taking that
Yes.
stuff down. Previously, it was kind of a gray area because it's like, well, we don't really have this up. Like, we probably have bigger fish to fry
Yeah.
in terms of stuff we want to take down. There's always stuff Nintendo would like to take down. Like
Oh, they
that's
love
an
it.
endless and fun job for them.
They love this.
But now it's like we can firmly put these in our crosshairs. We
Yeah.
have our thing. People need to be on that thing. There is a strategic purpose and reason for that
There is
thing.
money that needs to be
Yes.
paid for you to get access
Yes.
to this music, whereas you are listening to it for free or uploading it for free. You are ripping it,
Yes.
pirating it. You are going to get taken down.
So I think, yeah,
So
that is the next
copyright
domino
strikes are coming.
to fall. Here it comes. Get ready.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
But
these videos that we have that has Nintendo music in it. Oh no.
wow, what a
Goodbye
what a
monetization.
surprising and I mean, I'm very excited by this. I mean, I've only been able to use it for about an hour, but I'm still kind of wrapping my
Yeah.
mind around it. But I'm very positive on this.
I am too. I'm super excited. I love to see entertainment Nintendo entertain us. Yeah, they're full of surprises, and I love it. It's great. All right, what do you guys think? Drop your favorite track in the comment so we can start making the playlist, a community playlist. Let's do that. That'll be fun, huh? All right, that's it for today. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.